Success bring the hate, y'all. So I'm staying out the way. Staying out the way. Staying out the way. Success bring them hate, y'all. But I'm out the way. Over here. Signing my check. Ain't gotta flex. Money and power can buy you respect. Under a debt. Never forget. As I implement the discipline, stay on your ground and you say, she need me as a fool. My mama proud of me too. Told me that raising a tool, don't finish it. Don't make me take you to school.
Yes.
Feel like you should. When you get the looks, and they get the book. If I'm on the bag, now they mad, let me cook. Stay out the way. Stay out the way. Success make them hate, dog. So I'm staying out the way. Stay out the way. Stay out the way.
Peace.
Success make them hate, dog. But I'm out the way. I'm prioritizing my peace with positive vibes around me. Grind and provide for the seeds. Trying to survive in the streets. Feel like you're dying to breathe. Climbing through weeds.
It's just me.
How can one line succeed? I'd rather rely on me. I cannot rely on he who can set me free. My frequency clean and the aura supreme. Spirit serene, I'm a soul machine. Composed of the drum with the
I'm dropping this month for y'all, I promise.
like I know the scene. Up with the vibe with the flow is me. Anyone close to me know it's a dream. Me mixing the crowd, it don't go with the theme. You know what I mean? Staying out the way.
Staying out the way.
Staying out the way. Success make them hate, dog. So I'm staying out the way. Staying out the way. Staying out the way. Success make them hate, dog. But I'm out the way. Over here.
Yes. That's that new Jamaar Milton. Out the way, coming for all streaming platforms in a little minute. In a little minute. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, smash that button for me. All right, we're gonna delve into this flat earth situation because, as you can all see, it's become the talking point for the whole internet. Now that the bro Lord Jamaar has brought it to the mainstream, as y'all all know, you know your boy has something to do with that, right? If you know, you know. If you know, you know. You guys know my relationship with Lord Jamaar and the things that we discuss on the day-to-day. But we have to deal with this once and for all as to, first and foremost, before we get into flat earth, why is this even here? Why are people discussing it right now in this day and time? And this doesn't happen just for no reason, okay? That's what we got to understand, that people don't just pick up talking points for no reason. There's a catalyst for it, and there's a trigger for it. And what I've learned from walking through the house of the flat earth community, the same way I walk through the house of the Kemetic community, the same way I walk through the house of the Christian community, the same way I live in the Black community. If you're paying attention, you'll realize that the reason why this conversation piece and this talking point has come up is because simply the math and the answers that they've given us are insufficient. That's the first thing. If it's something that's right, true, and exact, there's not going to be that much argument to the point that we have to deal with it the way that we have to deal with it now. So what you're seeing is a onslaught of people trauma bonding from the misinformation that they've been given over the course of their lives. So what you're witnessing is, you know, you have those who deal with science, and then you have those who deal with their actual reality as to what they believe and what they move forward with. We've seen things defy science on many different occasions. We've seen it. So there's no need to question whether or not science is always 100% accurate. They aren't. So with that alone, even if there's a 1% difference in what we've seen, it garnishes us to want to go ahead and research why did that anomaly happen. Does that make sense?
To this day.
That will always make sense, because you're always going to wonder, okay, so what changed, right? And so I'm just going to go over some of the things that that I noticed, some of the things that that from going in other groups and other rooms and having these challenging conversations, some of the things that I picked up. And one of the first things that I picked up is when they talk about curvature, right? When we're dealing with flat earth and they talk about curvature, this is one of the things where things go left because they gave us a mathematical equation for it, right? But the problem is when we were given this mathematical equation, we were children. And they told us that this is the equation and these are the numbers and this is what it is. So as children, when we register and we render the information that's given from our teachers, we take it for face value that it's 100% correct. And then we begin to build our universe around what it is that we've learned. Does that make sense? So everything that we know today, at whatever age you're at, was built on a foundation of what you learned as a child. And as a child in school, we were told that the radius, well, I should say the curvature rather, of the earth is 8 inches per square mile. That is how it curves, right? So logically, we think, okay, so if that's the number, that means every square mile, if a plane is flying, it needs to turn its nose downward by 8 inches per square mile. Why? Because you have to rotate around this sphere or this oblate spheroid or this ball, however you want to call it, this globe. If you're going to say that the curvature equals 8 inches per square mile, then the math has to start mathing and it has to add up when we do our calculations on a day-to-day. The issue is these numbers are not accurate and they are only approximate or estimate numbers, and that is till this day.
To this day. To this day.
But in school, when you're a kid, they don't tell you that. They just told you that these are the numbers. So now we're adults. We're not even revisiting that anymore, right? These are foundational things that we were taught. So we're not revisiting those formulas. We're not revisiting those definitions. It's locked in. Right? So we're telling everybody 8 inches per square mile, 8 inches per square mile. But let me pull up Chat GPT real quick. Let me pull this up real quick. Because this is something that you guys need to see. That way you're not even just, taking my word for it, right? I don't like people just taking my word for it. I really like people that go ahead and do the knowledge so that they can fact check me and see, that I put the work in. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen so y'all can see this really quick. I'm just going to pull up Chat GPT, just general consensus, and we're going to look at the formula here, okay? The 8 inches per square mile or per mile squared rule is an approximation. You see how they highlighted this word? You see that? Right? They highlighted it. It's in my question, however. Used to estimate, because I asked them, is the 8 inch per square mile an exact number of the curvature, or is it an approximation? And they put it in here. It's an approximation used to estimate the curvature of the earth over relatively short distances. I think we could all agree that the earth is pretty large. It's not a short distance. It is derived from the geometry of a sphere, but become less accurate over long distances due to the nature of the formula. So you know what this tells me? This tells me that the earth is not a sphere. That's the first thing. That's the first thing that it tells me. It tells me that they were using the wrong formula for a long time. For all of these years that they were teaching us the wrong things, and the earth is not a formula. I mean, it's not a sphere, according to this. That's the reason why the formula doesn't work. Because one thing I know about math, it don't switch up, first and foremost, right? We have variables, but math don't switch up. The science of mathematics does not switch up, and it maintains itself. So when you see things are switching up, that means we aren't right and exact. That's the first thing that we can say in the consensus that we can come to by listening to this. Okay, so it is derived from the geometry of a sphere, but becomes less accurate over long distances due to the nature of the formula. And it explains the formula. The Earth's curvature can be approximated using this formula: D equals 8 times m squared inches, right? Where D equals the drop and m is the distance in miles. This formula assumes the Earth is a perfect sphere and simplifies the calculation for short distances. You know why the formula doesn't work? Because it's not a perfect sphere. That's the first thing. So now when you look, but then when you go in your classroom and all these little kids is going to their classroom, they're seeing a globe that is essentially a perfect sphere, even though this is telling you right here that the equation does not work for long distances. So we cannot say that the earth is a sphere because the math ain't mathing. So this is the reason why flat earthers go to the extent that they go to and believe what they believe, because the math ain't mathing. We didn't create the math. They created the math and served it to us, right? That's how it went, right? Most of the planet is not aware of this. But let's move on, right? Luckily, you're on the right channel. So let's move on and delve even further. Here is the right formula. Well, let's go with this right. Before we get to the right formula, this is the limitations of the approximation. Short distances. It provides a close estimate for short distances only up to 100 miles. That's not even a full state in some places. For example, over 1 mile, the drop is approximately 8 inches. Over 2 miles, it's roughly 32 inches. Do you see the difference here? Family, do you see the difference between 8 inches and 32 inches? That's 4 times as much the original value, and it gets worse as you go longer and longer and longer. So the math don't math. Let's keep going. Long distance, the formula becomes increasingly inaccurate at longer distances because it does not account for the actual arc length or the Earth's true shape, which is an oblate spheroid, as they claim, slightly flattened at the poles and bulging at the equator. Now, when we was growing up, they never said anything about an oblate spheroid. Correct me if I'm wrong. Stop me when I'm lying. The first time I heard somebody use oblate spheroid was Neil deGrasse Tyson, okay? All of these earth science teachers that taught us this far did not say anything about an oblate spheroid. Now, I have to date myself here. I'm 45 years old. That's the last time that I sat in that chair dealing with these people, was in high school dealing with geography and all of that. You see what I'm saying? But the reality is all of those individuals that was in class with me are adults now too. And they're also the ones that's claiming the same things that they're claiming. Do you understand? So when I listen to these guys, I'm willing to hear them out and hear everything that they have to say. We go on platforms and when we hear people talk about in reference to flat earth, they're always cursing them out, calling them stupid, ad hominems, whatever they can find, whatever names they can try to do to build up their ego, as opposed to dealing with the math and the things and the questions that they have opposition on. You understand? And this is where I think that I come into play, because I can see both sides of the ledger and I can be objective enough to study my own situation and study other situation and understand why they think what they think. Get a little bit of background as to why they're saying what they're saying. Does it have some validity? And yes, flat earth does have some validity in what they're saying, because the math ain't math. And if they want to stick with science all the time, then guess what? You're going to have to deal with that math and why it ain't mathing. So if you say it's approximate, why is it approximate? Why don't we have official numbers right now? Why can't you calculate these things if you can calculate everything else? Right? So, moving on. More accurate calculation. For precise measurements, the Earth's curvature is calculated using more complex geometry. Now we start to delve in where we should be talking. What we should be talking about is this formula here. And let's be honest, how many of you guys have ever seen this formula? How many of you guys have ever seen this formula? I'm gonna be the first to raise my hand and say I've never seen this formula. This is my first time starting to deal with this formula. If anybody has seen this formula before, please put it in the chat. If you've never seen this formula before, say no. Okay? I just want to take a consensus. We got 20 people and 21 in the people in the room right now. If you've seen this formula before, okay, please put in this feed, yes, I've seen the formula. If you haven't seen the formula, please put in the feed, no, I have not seen this formula, out of the people that we have on this feed right here. So now when we deal with this formula, if you look, it says where H is now the drop. Okay, D used to be the drop. Now H is the height of the drop. D is now the horizontal distance. So we have to take in distance into play. How far are we going? And then R is the Earth's radius, approximately 3,959 miles. Now there's a problem that I have with this, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, because this formula here is supposed to be telling us our curvature. I find it hard to give us the Earth's radius to put that in there and be approximate or even exact with that, when we know that the numbers that we're going off of for this have to be this formula, which is inaccurate. You see what I'm getting at? Because how can we calculate the radius if we haven't yet calculated the curvature? But I digress. Let's keep on playing with them real quick. Okay? You can't go here. You can't say approximately. We're dealing with math here. We're not dealing with approximate numbers. We want exact numbers because y'all claiming you got everything else. Damn, I'm seeing a lot of no's in here. I didn't see not one yes. Okay. The questions was, if you've seen this formula, put yes in the feed. If you've never seen this formula before, please put no in the feed. Okay? So now this formula, a prerequisite of this formula is the letter R, which is the Earth's radius. They're literally calculating the radius before they even have how much curvature we have. That's a big no-no.
To this day.
The math don't math. You can't do that. Mathematically, you can't do that because you haven't first calculated what the curvature is. So how can we put in what the radius is when you don't know how much is curving? All right. You see? So in summary, let's deal with this. The 8 inches per square mile rule is a useful approximation for quick calculations over short distances, but is not exact and should not be used for precise or long distance measurements, which they do. But in any case, for rigorous applications, more accurate formulas and models of Earth's curvature are necessary. What are the damn formulas? Why do you not tell us these formulas? So you can see I've been delving into this. Why does gravity bring things towards the center of the Earth? I'll be delving into this. I got a lot of different subject matters that I can tap onto this, but this is the main one that I wanted to touch because it clearly covers why people think what they think. You know, we should not look at people who study flat Earth as idiots. They're just not. They have questions that have not been answered, and usually the people that's supposed to be answering the questions are just doing the most condescending speeches and, lectures to these people that they possibly can versus actually dealing with the subject matter. Okay. So let's delve into some more stuff here. There's another reason why people delve into this, and I've gone over this before, but for giggles, we got to do this again. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to take a look at this, and I want y'all to just follow me on this, man. This is the Apollo 11 takeoff. Okay. This is quote unquote actual footage. Okay. From 1969. Okay. No, 1972, actually. This succeeded the moon landing in 1969. So supposedly they went to the moon. And then they sent this thing here. Okay, 1972, December 14th, 1972, Apollo 17. Okay, so now this is supposed to be the moon. A module on the moon taking off. Let's just let it play.
Get the pro. 99.
Fair use, Zach. Fair use.
3, 2, 1. Ignition. Right away,
Okay.
Houston. Vector good.
Okay.
X-Sot.
Okay. Listen, man. Listen. I try not to laugh. Sometimes I put that video on just to have a good laugh when I'm having a bad day. Okay, just so I can feel good about myself, knowing I could be a lot stupider. Like I could be thinking that this is a real space shuttle. Okay, and I could believe that the glitter that's flying off this thing is actual debris.
2, 1.
But I don't.
Ignition. Right away,
I don't.
Houston.
I don't believe that this is a real space shuttle taking off from the moon. And that was the response that the machinery gave upon takeoff. I don't believe
Right
that.
away, Houston. Vector good.
I believe that this is
Ignition.
something, in my opinion, that was tied to a string or rig and simply just lifted up into the sky, up into the air. That's what I believe from my expertise and experience of doing music videos for all these years, for the last 20, 25 years. Every music video that you've seen Jamaar Milton put out, with the exception of maybe under 3 fingers I can count, I did myself. Okay, so I know a lot about green screening. I know a lot about mats. Okay, I know a lot about superimposing on pictures. Somebody said that's a toy. I mean, yeah, anybody with a half a brain, right? But the same people that believe in this will argue you down that we can travel to these other planets, that we know the shape of the Earth, and that everyone else is just an idiot. But looking at this, like if you went to the movies and they showed you this for Interstellar, you would say, yo, the graphics on that was trash. You would say it's trash. The graphics was just insanely garbage, right? Nobody would look at that and be like, yep, that's definitely the moon. What, did they send a space shuttle up there with a camera? Nobody would agree that what we're looking at is actual space shuttle taking off. Did you see the sparkles? Did y'all see the glitter, bro? One more time. This is the last time. Look at the glitter. You know, who's doing that? Glitter. Really? Okay. So what that does is that draws us to the conclusion that, yo, y'all be lying, bro. Right? Like, y'all be lying. NASA be lying. Oh, and the no stars thing we can get on in, at a little bit later date, because I've been trying to track down this video of somebody breaking that down. And he was talking about the sun and why you can't see stars in outer space. Okay, because they have a beautiful explanation for that, of course, and math and all that to come with it. Okay, but in any case, watching this thing lift off proved to me, that NASA is a bunch of liars, and they will go to the extent of manipulating everyone if they have to, because this is something that was put out on national television for all the world to see. It's still up. It's still up as if it's right, true, exact, and real. So what does that trigger? Anything that you guys are telling me, I'm taking with a grain of salt and not for face value. What does that mean? If you give me a mathematical equation as to what's going on with the Earth and its curvature, I want to go and test it out, because I don't believe what you're saying. I don't believe you. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play one more video for you guys. This is Lord Jamaar. This is actually what he did today. He did a video today. And I want to play this for you. Let me see if I can share this one. Because he had two guys on here that were breaking this down, the curvature and the formula, and why and how it's so off. Let me see if I can share this one and play this. Don't mind the text that came in. I was getting some CMOS delivered to me, so it's going to pop in like halfway. But check this out. Is the volume playing, family? Hold on. Let me figure out why I don't hear no. Can y'all hear did y'all hear the volume playing on that when they was talking just now? Y'all let me know if y'all heard the volume. No, I got to figure out why. One second. Okay, here we go. I think I fixed it. Let me know if y'all hear this far.
Do you notice how flat earthers always round down in the globe favor? It's 6,600 feet. You left off 600 feet of additional curvature. No, it's okay. We can give them whatever they want, because it's so discrepancy. Here's a quick thing for those of you that are new. Let me just get rid of the canal here for a second. So large bodies of water at rest lie flat. Why is that showing that? Large bodies of water at rest lie flat. There it is. Sorry. Let me get rid of that. And when they're cold, they freeze flat. So we have a frozen lake here. We have a camera 6 inches off the ground, and we have these lights out here, 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now, that doesn't seem far, but according to the globe size that they claim, 24,901 miles around, those of you that are fighting for the globe don't even know that, there should be more than 30 feet, 22 feet, 15, and 9 feet of curvature. These things should be behind the curve, but they're not. They all line up there. So there's two options. A, the earth is flat and we just see them all there. Or B, this camera with its horizon, which should be about a mile away at that height, all of these things are refracting up magically in different amounts and stopping at the tangent to their view of the edge of the earth to make you think the earth is flat. It's ridiculous.
And then you see Chicago skyline.
Okay. So that is their stance, right? As to why you see and the thing I like about this is they actually broke down what globe heads are saying, but they also broke down and showed that they're doing their own experiments. And this is what I love about flat earthers, is because they're actually going ahead and they're doing experiments. You understand? They're actually going ahead and utilizing the resources that they have to show you that the math ain't mathing.
To this day. To this day.
So when you see that they're doing their experiments and they're saying, hey, yo, you know, that 8 inches per square mile is way off, even under 100 miles. Even under 100 miles. They're only talking, what, maybe 30 miles here? And the math is way off. And then when you ask the globe heads, okay, how are we able to see these things? They try to blame it on refraction, right? And angles of light. We all understand all these different things. But if you can do this on a larger scale, you should be able to duplicate it on a lower scale, right? This is how we get into the study of quantum physics and how we can even heal diseases and stuff like that. We understand cellular activity and quantum physical level stuff, right? So if you can do it on a smaller scale, it will then begin to multiply on a larger scale. So why aren't we able to scale this down? The sun being 93 million miles away, show us an experiment that makes sense with that. Show us an experiment that makes sense with the 8 inch per square mile on a smaller scale. Everything should not require $1 billion technology that only they can understand, if that makes sense.
To this day. To this day.
It has to make sense, right? And that's the reason why flat earthers take the stance that they do. And because here's the thing, science doesn't need you to understand it in order for it to be right. And it doesn't need you to understand it in order for it to be wrong. That's the beautiful thing about knowledge. That's the beautiful thing about knowledge. Thinking that you know it all is your first mistake. So if you're not willing to listen to the objective arguments, you've already lost. Right? I always tell you guys, a real judge has to hear both sides of the ledger to make a good consensus and a good judgment call as to what they need to do and who's right and who's wrong. Right? And sometimes it's neither. Right? Sometimes it's a matter of perspective and where you're standing. And a lot of that comes into play when we're dealing with the sun, the moon, the stars, the shape of the earth. Relativity is a thing. So like if you're dealing with a globe head, right? They're going to try to give you direction, right? North Pole, South Pole, right? But the thing they fail to realize is, how can you give me direction on a ball? There is no direction on a ball. There's no corners. There's no left. There's no right. You would have to first give me a relative area that's constant that we consider to be the area that we're going to use to judge where we're going to turn left and right. But if you're on a ball, none of that should exist. Okay? Hold on, beloved. I got you, Queen. You can do Jamaar Milton, Jalasan Jamaar Milton, or Jamaar A. Milton. They all segue to me. All right? People asking for the Cash App, that's the Cash App. All right. And if you want your comment on screen, you could throw the Cash App too. But in any case, Super Chat, rather. Family, if you don't set a relative space, like the only reason why we're able to tell north, south, east, west, right, is because we're using the North Pole as our place of reference. But what if the earth is not a ball, right? That only works if you have a place of reference and you're agreeing that the earth is a ball. If it is a ball, there is no four corners. There can't be any north, south, east, west. That means we're automatically all agreeing to something that we don't all necessarily agree with. Why would we all agree that the North Pole should be the place of reference? Why isn't the place of reference just where we are? No, the North Pole is always our place of reference at the end of the day, globally, right? So if we don't want to adhere to that and we want to move to something else, how does all of these formulas now work? They just won't. They just won't. Because that's all based off of one given reference point. If we take that away, a lot of this starts to fall apart and loses credibility. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion. So this is pretty much what we've been dealing with flat earth. And this is why flat earthers have delved down the space that they've delved into, and they have valuable questions. Now, everything that globe heads believe, they believe that math is somehow the answer. I've been on a panel all day dealing with some of them, and all they want to do is bring out formulas in math that they can't actually even do or break down themselves. We have to pull up Chat GPT and all this stuff for them to even put together an equation. You see? So their talking points are not as strong either when we're dealing with flat earth. And I believe that that is a necessary thing. The main component here is the ad hominems, right? And this is what I was trying to explain, because every flat earther that came up to try to talk about what it is they wanted to say and express their views, they were greeted with laughter and name calling, right? And, you know, in the world, and not just the Black community, in any community, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Say that again. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. So if you're actually trying to give somebody valid advice or valid knowledge, you cannot greet them with an insult and think now you're changing something in the universe and helping people. You're just not. Okay? KJ said that's because of electromagnetism. What's because of electromagnetism? And let me know if any of you guys want to come on the feed. I'll put the if you want to explain your stance. I have no problem with dropping a link too, because I like to hear you guys out and hear where you're at with it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Universe, for the $20. Appreciate you. And if you're gonna drop something in the super chat, make sure you drop a comment so we can get you on screen. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just take your money. You want to say something, definitely, right? Thunder F said facts, and they won't show you or let you go to the North or South Pole. Yes, and this is one of the things that I was asking for. I was saying, yo, why? This is so easy, right? Everything else that we wanted to prove in this millennium, we've literally just gotten video footage of it. Yes? Can we agree? Right? Light work. Light work. Any and everything that we've done, we've been able to now get video footage of. The reason why a lot of these things are coming to the forefront that we see in today's society is because you're being filmed on camera like 10, 20 times a day without you even knowing it. That's aside from the ones that we actually purposely put up. So why hasn't anybody flown from the North Pole to the South Pole in one continuous video feed? Why aren't they doing that? You can get this over with right now, overnight. Just do what Amelia Earhart was trying to do, but in the opposite axis. That's all you got to do. You see? But they have never done it. And it's always a conspiracy. What happened to Amelia Earhart? She was trying to just do one loop around the earth. Didn't make it, bring us back, no feedbacks, no nothing. She gone, just like that. Too many conspiracies when it's trying to get to the truth. There's always a problem. When somebody has the answer to something, and this is what I always said, if I was to go to a successful person and I say, yo, bro, how'd you do it? Right? If giving me the answer doesn't take away his success, he's more than willing to share that information just like that. They're proud to do that. Proud to do that. You know what I'm saying? Anything, it doesn't matter what the subject matter is. Yo, how did you do that? Psst, proud to give it away if it doesn't take away from them. See? So when we go to them, we ask them, yo, why you just can't give us a video feed, boom, boom, and they don't want to do that, or they tap dancing every chance they can get around something, right? That tells me that they don't want us to know. That tells me that A, they possibly might know, or B, they might not know, and they made something up, and they don't want me to know. Yes, do I. Thank you, Universe. Thank you, Dua. Thank you, Thunder F as well. That tells me that they don't know or don't want you to know. In my opinion, is they do know, and they served us a watered down version of the knowledge. There's something that's missing. Something is not clicking on all cylinders. There are certain things that us as a people, we collectively just say, yo, everything just lines up and it works, right? It works for me. It works for everybody. And I see that nobody else has an advantage because it works. But with this whole flat earth versus globe earth thing, this is not what we're seeing. We're seeing weird flight patterns. We're seeing them, instead of flying right to their destination, they're going weird ass stops. And we all know, like, we low on gas, so there's no reason for you to fly to these extra countries if I'm just trying to go there and it's a straight shot. Why are you taking me all the way over here, bro? None of it makes sense. So they're doing things that are against what it is that they say is laid out and confirmed. Now, if it's not laid out and confirmed, right, and now they're starting to use the word approximately, how can you have so much confidence that you're correct when we know we're just using words like approximately? Why are we using those words? Why would anybody take that stance and pretend as if everything they're saying is right, true, and exact when they know they're operating off of theories and not theorems? What's the difference between a theory and a theorem? A theorem is solid, right? Factual. You can't dispute it. A theory can be debunked, right? Like the Big Bang Theory. It's not a theorem. The Big Bang Theory. Everything is based off of that event from the beginning. The Big Bang. That's the beginning, the start of everything. And it's a theory.
To this day. To this day.
So with that being said, you should welcome anybody coming to you with a new theory, because clearly you don't know it all. Make sure if you don't know, you look up the difference between a theory and a theorem. Okay? Solid points that flat earthers bring up versus people who are globe heads, right? Now, let's talk about some of the globe head stuff that needs to be dealt with and challenged, right? There are things that globe heads have been operating on, right? Because I told you I can speak objectively too. There are things that globe heads have been operating on for years, and instruments that they claim are utilizing these formulas to even work, right? Submarines and things that move with propulsion and cars and things, they use certain mathematical equations and formulas to make these things, right? Submarines utilizes what they call the law of gravity to dictate how high and how low they need to be. Shocks as well, right? For cars. So you have to prove, and this is for my flat earthers out there, those that are doing researches, you have to prove, and if you're not going to use science or you're going to steer away from math, you have to prove or invent some sort of instrument that works, but would only work if the earth was flat. Does that make sense? This is the stage we're at. Not to say that flat earth is false. It has not been developed enough to challenge globe earth to that capacity when they're leaning on math and science, right? So you have to come with a tool that is an alternative, and you got to be able to break this down, peer review and everything. You can't just come with it and just be talking, because this is what I'm seeing with a lot of flat earthers. They ain't doing their due diligence, okay? They just talking, not doing their due diligence. You got to come with the studies that's going to help to debunk the globe earth and kill math and science in the way that they know it. Most flat earthers do not do their due diligence. They're just watching what they see on YouTube, TV, whatever it is, and taking it from there. They're not doing the experiments, as you saw these other dudes that we played for y'all that went ahead and shot the lasers and did all that. You know what I'm saying? You got to come with something that is bone crushing. That experiment is bone crushing. It's showing, nope, your math ain't mathing. Does that make sense? You got to come with something. So this is where we at with it right now. We're at the stage where people have realized something is wrong. And they're like, yo, you know, I don't believe this anymore. I haven't seen enough. Some people just go right in and say, yo, I believe flat earth. Some people was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? They have questions, right? And then there's others that just strictly defy it because of what they learned as children. I'm okay with all three, but all three have their voids that need to be filled. Okay. So with that being said, you know, this whole flat earth thing, me and Lord Jamaar, we sat down, and that's the reason why this is being spoken about all over the internet. It's because of the private conversation. I can prove that here. The private conversations that me and my brother have regularly. So everything that y'all seeing, family, and I'm gonna take this. Let me pull this up. I'm gonna take this off the screen, my background off the screen, just so y'all can hopefully see some of this. I don't know if y'all will be able to see it, but I think you will. So my brother Lord Jamaar and I fix this. Take out my virtual background. Y'all know I'll be real with it. Right, back in the living room. So now, this here is the feed that me and Lord Jamaar have. Flat Earth. You see Flat Earth? Me and my brother Mike Shoddy as well. And all we do, and let me show you how long we've been doing this to show y'all how much we really into this. All we do is drop videos on Flat Earth. Whatever we find, we got a whole arsenal of this that we could do. Listen, bro, you really don't want to do this. We got a whole arsenal of different experiments and proof and things that we've seen that we share with one another, right? Because we really take this seriously. I can keep scrolling forever because we really take it seriously. A lot of people just settle on what it is that they know. They're not really. So this is just to prove to y'all that these conversations that you're seeing is from me and Lord Jamar's private conversations. And y'all just getting to experience it on a grand scale because he's taking them to the commercial level. Like I told y'all we was going to do. Remember in the beginning, I told y'all I was going to converge the commercial community with the conscious community. Remember those of y'all who didn't understand what the play was and didn't understand what the assignment was? This was the assignment from the beginning. It's to get these conversations on the main floor versus just in these back rooms with people who are pro-black. Let's get them on the main scale so we can really affect some people and really change some people's lives. You see what I'm saying? So these are the private, wild conversations that me and Lord Jamaar have on a regular basis every day. That's the bro, you know. So we talk about that all the time. Not just that, all the other stuff too. To see the stuff that you see that's going on with Fat Joe, the stuff, you know, and FBA. Those are also conversations that me and Lord Jamaar have directly. You know, I have to go into the regular chat for that, and you know, I'm not bringing it up. But in any case, just so y'all know why this is happening, why flat earthers believe what they believe, why globe heads believe what they believe. Remember, from the beginning of the time, let me tell you how solid this globe hedge is. From the beginning of time, y'all, when you were first born, your mama took you and put you in the bassinet. And do you remember what was spinning above your head? Do you remember? Just so you know, that was your first program. From the moment you got home and your mother placed you in that bassinet, that was your first space program. You had a mobile spinning over your head from the time you was a baby. And it had sun, moon, stars, planets, boom, 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 some of y'all, right? That's the first program. You've been studying this before you even went to school. Real talk. You don't even think about that. You don't even think about it. It was automatically instilled in your brain from the time you were born that you're somewhere spinning. Spinning. They gave you this gift wrapped. Gift wrapped. Huh? At the baby shower, somebody went and bought it and said, yo, they bought your program before you were even born, bro. Think about this. So you have to think how in depth this has gone to program people to only one way of thinking, to the point where they can't even listen to the other side. They can't even listen. It's like talking against their mama or something. See what I'm saying? Because literally it kind of is. Your mama gave it to you. You know what I'm saying? They don't realize that. They don't see it as a program or any of that. So they just look at it like, okay, you know, kids' toys, whatever, keep them entertained. No, bro, that's a whole program. Why are you spinning that? Why are you not spinning, like, I don't know, happy faces or little children? Hey, why are you spinning the sun, the moon, and the stars? Why does a baby, an infant baby, need to know that? or even talk about, right? Just bring the baby outside. Why you got to show them that everything's spinning? Because the baby ain't going to be able to put that together from coming outside. You put that together for the baby. See what I'm saying? You put that together for the baby and you served it to him. Why? Why is that such an important argument so young? So young. This baby just got here and you already serving him the sun, the moon, and the stars. Why is it so important to you? Huh? The baby can't even latch on to his mother's breast yet. Why is the sun, moon, and stars more important? That baby ain't even breastfeeding. I think that's a more, a more valuable argument, a more valuable thing you should be looking at in terms of priority. But no, they serve it to you. So you got to look at things like that. Like, why was that given that? So why were we giving that so early? Right? And then we also look at, the missions to the moon, right? Like the spaceship Challenger, where they all supposedly died in a spaceship, in a space shuttle traveling to the moon. But yet and still, these people are still alive. And they try to say, oh, yeah, it's just the twins and nah. Like, let me see. Maybe this will be the last one thing I bring up here. The spaceship. Go to Google real quick. This is public knowledge. I'm gonna pull up this is the one that really took me for a loop right here. Okay. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Yeah, if you're new, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you, Super Micah J. Thank you for everybody that donated in the super chat. Thank you, Universe. Thank you for Thunder F. Just got to bring some things into perspective here. Let's talk about this real quick. This woman. She goes by the name of Judy Resnick. Okay. This woman has been racking my brain for at least a decade now. For at least a decade. Why? Because this woman, Judith Arlene Resnick, supposedly died on the Spaceship Challenger, okay, when we were kids. Now, just to give you some background on why this was important to me, as a kid, my first thing, everybody when they're growing up, they want to be something, right? Some people, basketball player, baseball player, whatever. First thing I wanted to be was an astronaut, okay? So I knew all the Spaceship Challengers by name. My school teacher was really big on it. So one day she said, we're going to watch the space shuttle take off. This has never happened again in history, by the way. Okay. It's only happened one time. And we're going to watch all of these astronauts hop in this space shuttle and they're going to fly to outer space to the moon. I am in my element. Yes. Let's do this. We have to do this. Right? So the teacher literally wheels out a television set. And this is all over America, family. Some of you might remember this. Some of you may be too young. But all over America, they wheeled out the TVs that they use for educational purposes, and they put it in the class. And as a class, all of us, all 20, 30 kids, whatever it was, I remember I was sitting on the right side, second seat on the right. And I'm watching this, and the space shuttle went up in the air and blew up. Okay? And we allegedly watched, 8 of them, I believe? Whatever it was. Basically disintegrate before our eyes at like 8 years old. Okay? First time I've ever seen death televised, ever. I'm traumatized. I'm a kid. You know what I mean? I'm totally traumatized. All I know is by the time I get to elementary school, I no longer want to be an astronaut because of what I witnessed. Okay? And Judy Resnick was one of those people who supposedly died on this shuttle, right? But the issue is, and now let me bring up the next thing. Back to the tube. The issue is this woman is still alive.
So I live in New Haven, Connecticut, and
Not
therefore,
only is she still alive,
since state courts are the central
she's teaching.
facet of adjudication in the United States, wanted to start with a 1784 courthouse in New London, Connecticut, that is still operating today as the center of a lively and vibrant set of problem-solving institutions around the country.
What are we doing
every
here?
person be remedied by due course of law.
What are we doing here? She's not only alive, but they've given her a degree and she's teaching at Yale University. How do I know? Because I've seen her in person. If many of you have studied me from the beginning or watched me from the beginning, you realize that I used to live in Connecticut when I first started. And I actually saw her in person. That's what turned me around on this. When I realized she was behind this door in that class teaching, and I can literally see her through this glass window. Okay? I knew her name because I knew her from a child. Certain things you just get engraved in your head because it's like these are the people that I look up to as a kid. I remember the things as a child more than I remember even as an adult. I can't tell you what I ate maybe 2.5 weeks ago, but I can tell you about everything as a child, all the songs that we learned and what we learned from that. You dig? I can tell you. We remember those things. ABC, we learned that when we was a kid. It was only taught to us once. We never forgot. Right? So this woman, I knew of her. I knew her mannerisms, like, you know. Now she's older and it's like, how are you alive? Can we talk about that? Like, how did we get here? Not only that, you can pull up some of the other people too as well. The only person that you can't pull up, right, which makes sense, is the pilot. The pilot is the only one who's legitimately missing and could be considered dead. And that makes sense because I can guarantee you didn't fly 8 just random people up there, a school teacher and people that aren't astronauts and haven't gone through the actual. I just know you ain't just take these random people and put them in the shuttle and send them up there. See what I'm saying? We know you lying, but we gotta, we had to watch that and make believe, not even make believe. We believed it until we got older. And we started to realize these people are still alive and they got well-paying jobs. All of them got really good jobs and they're living humble lifestyles. You know what I'm saying? Not just, So that's very, very challenging. And y'all should look that up. And they try to call it hoax. It's a twin brother. It's not this. Like, come on. When you look at the Chinese dude, they all looked exactly the same. Like, I need to pull up some comparisons so y'all can see what they look like in modern day time. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. Because y'all need to see this. It's going to blow your mind. You can't even make this up. Okay. Ooh, we even got side-by-side action. This is wonderful. See if I can zoom in. Here we go. Okay. Look at this, family. Look at this. Because they claim it's false. When you look at this, come on, man. Stop playing with us, man. Stop playing with us. Okay? They even kept their same names. Just to bring some perspective, family, all of these people that we're mentioning here is the exact age that they should be if it was that person, and they still have the names. Thunder F said, remember the rocket with the camera hitting the dome you showed? Mind blown. We never left Earth. Yes. Yes. I showed that a while back. Because the only people that's disproven, the scientists, is regular lay people flying amateur rockets into space, showing that it's hitting some sort of a dome. These are regular people. Okay? So we got to look at this and say, yo, there's something to this. What did the rocket hit that stopped it? It should just keep going into outer space. Why did it just stop like that and make that noise and spin like that? Let me see if I can find that one. Man, you're going to keep me going on here, bro. Chill. You know, I got plenty of, I like to do stuff from the amateurs. Like I don't delve into, you know, these people that claim they get funding and all that. No, I don't want nobody that got funding that's got an agenda. Okay, hold on. We're gonna pull that up. The amateur rocket that crashes into this rocket because nobody can explain this. Bring this back real quick. Y'all looking at amateur people with a little bit of bread fly a rocket into space. Let's watch.
3, 2, 1.
Fair use, Act. Fair use. Highest and fastest amateur rocket ever launched. Let's go. Oh, you can hear it grinding. Oh, let's bring it back. Okay, that's these are the things that are weird as hell. Why did that rocket suddenly stop like that after hitting? It had to hit something. It had to hit something. You can hear it hit something, and you can hear it after it hit something grinding on it like there's something there. Shit back. I'm not finna play with these niggas. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do. I know what I'm looking at, and I know what I'm hearing. Right? Why even play the game? Like, no, you got to explain that, globe heads. Like, what just happened there? What just happened there? Because you could hear it hit it first before it even stopped turning. It wasn't like, you know how when something like it's gonna take a little second before it to register that it hit something and then stop. It didn't just and then stop. No, it's like, oh, you can hear go, and then it stopped like it was in there, and you could just feel it. You could hear it grinding. Come on, B. Come on. What solid thing is that rocket hitting that it didn't just fly all the way out into outer space? It's spinning the whole time. It's spinning the whole time. Something it hit stopped it. So these are the experiments that flat earthers are coming up with that are really, really interesting. Super interesting. Not to mention all the other stuff, you know? So, and just to play devil's advocate one last time, the reason why, you know, certain globe heads are jumping out of the window and they don't have the knowledge or expertise, but they're saying what they're saying is because we've been lied to for so long. We've been lied to for so long by white folks, by everybody in the world. History, science, all that. Contributions to society, whatever you want to call it. So what happens is when people come into community, they're no longer taking anybody's word for it. They're not taking the white man's word for it. They want to prove it. You know what I mean? You got to prove it. Show us what's going on. We're not just going to listen to what everybody tells us about what's going on because there's so many lies. Right? Like We know enough to pass the test, but in order to be able to make it applicable and tie it into reality, some of this stuff need work. It need work. And everything about the school system should tell you that. Right? There's no reason why you should graduate and not know how to balance a checkbook, or know about credit, or know about how to buy a home. Really? You've been under a teacher's tutelage for 12 years and they never taught you the basic stuff that you need out of life? All right. All right.
To this day.
Like, nah, you gotta pay extra for that. Right? That should be the basic. Why isn't that being taught? There's a reason for that. If you don't think that's by design, I don't know what to tell you. Because ain't none of that by mistake. That's all by design. So yes, they do know stuff, and then they will not tell you it. They will not teach you, even though they know that's important for you. They're not going to do it. You got to do the legwork. You got to make your due diligence and say, yo, I want to study these things so that I can, progress and do better, right? So that's my consensus on flat Earth. Jamaar Milton is one who studies avidly, and the reason why, people consider or say that I know so much is because I act like I don't know nothing. I walk into it like I don't know nothing. But I do know enough that you can't just pull one over my eyes and bamboozle me. You're not just going to throw me a formula that you can't use and think that I'm going to, just take it for face value. That's not going to work. You got to work harder than that for me. But that's just me. Everybody has their methodology as to how they study and they come to conclusions. But for me to come to a conclusion on something like this, flat Earth, neither one of the parties have done enough work. And it all merits them to continue to keep doing the work. If they had done enough work, this would not be a topic of discussion today. It just wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm gonna drop that staying out the way real soon for y'all. Probably maybe give me like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? We got to get some nice cover art for you and get the energy right. But if y'all feeling this record, it's gonna be dropping in about 2 weeks. But I'm gonna get on out of here and try to revisit y'all tomorrow. You know what I mean? Talk some more of this. Make divine force in me equal to divine force in you. May you manifest every heart's desire. Let them know we back. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, send it to your people, chop it up, put it on your IG if it's something that I say here that's impactful. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it. Ashe. One.
Stand out the way. Stand out the way. Success bring the hate, y'all. So stand out the way. Stand out the way. Stand out the way. Success bring them hate, y'all. But I'm out the way. Over here. Money in my neck. Sign in my check. Ain't gotta flex. Money and power can buy you respect. Under attack. Never forget. As I implement the discipline, stay on your ground and you say she need me as a fool. My mama proud of me too. Told me that raising a tool don't finish it. Don't make me take you to school. But still I get shook when you get the looks and they get the book. If I'm on the bag, now they mad at me cook. Stand out the way. Stand out the way. Success make them hate, dog. So stand out the way. Stand out the way. Stand out the way. Success make them hate, dog, but I'm out the way. I'm prioritizing my peace with positive vibes around me. Grind to provide for the seeds, trying to survive in the streets. Feel like you're done to breathe, climbing through weeds. Type of thing irony breeds. How can one line succeed? I'd rather rely on me. I cannot rely on he who can set me free. My frequency cleaning the aura supreme. Spirit serene, I'm a soul machine. Composed of the drum with the coldest lean. Moving around like I know the scene. Uplifting vibe with the flow is me. Anyone close to me know it's a dream. Me mixing the crowd, it don't go with the theme. You know what I mean? Stand out the way. Stand out the way. Success make them hate, dog. So stand out the way. Stand out the way. Stand out the way. Success make them hate, dog. But I'm out the way. Over here.